Hi, my name is Rachael Tsaneva. I'm the author of the Neighbor to Neighbor Uniting Through English ESL textbook series. For the last 2.5 years, I've been putting this series together with a team of volunteer English teachers, and today I'm pleased to share with you some of the ways that we've designed this series to serve ESL learners in the U.S. and, Lord willing, lead to relationships that will point them to Christ. Neighbor to Neighbor is a project of the Committee on Discipleship Ministries and Mission to North America ESL, both part of the Presbyterian Church in America. M&A ESL exists to share the love of Christ in both word and deed through teaching relevant life skills English courses that provide sound instruction and foster meaningful relationships between and among teachers and students. At the start of this project, I did a survey of nearly 250 teachers and program directors from across the country. Here are some major results that informed our curriculum planning. Over 1/3 of teachers had under 2 years of experience in teaching English, and only a small number of them had had formal training. 2/3 had taken the M&A ESL weekend training workshop. In these programs, student demographics are extremely broad. Programs work with students of all ages and educational and work backgrounds. Because of the broad ranges of student needs, we decided to have a large focus on community life in the United States. We also surveyed students and found out more about topics they'd like to learn, what they like and don't like about the classes, and why they're learning English. For years, M&A ESL has been referring teachers to use some of the major curricula on the market. However, we wanted to design a curriculum just for these programs, which meet in churches and offer 1 to 2 hour classes once a week. Most major curriculum options are intended for classes that meet several times a week and prepare students for academic, but for most church programs, that is not the focus. There was also a concern that some curricula include ideas from the broader culture that are not acceptable to Christians, such as fortune telling. Our goal has been to build a curriculum that welcomes, accepts, and provides useful language and culture information, while also paving the way for people to share Christ through relationships. So we're thinking very relationally in the building of this curriculum, including relationships between teachers and students, among students, and from students to the community. In the teacher training workshop, we focus on relationships. We wanted the curriculum to equip everyday people to build deep relationships and make it easier to lesson plan so they could spend their time getting to know their students. Each lesson has both a short devotional for the teacher's own spiritual focus and a reminder to pray for the class and students as she or he plans. We understand that most teachers are volunteers who need tips and support to learn how to teach well because they have never had professional training. The curriculum includes teacher tips throughout each lesson, like the ones you see here, to provide ideas on activity expansion, adaptations for various needs, information about religious and cultural groups, and ideas for classroom management. In addition, we want to encourage students to build relationships with other students. So each lesson activity includes opportunities for student interaction, and so that students can discover what they have in common. These activities might be games, pair work, problem solving, interviews, and debates. You can see in this intro level lesson here, students have a simple activity to show and explain their likes and dislikes and find out what they have in common with their classmates. We also want to connect our students to the broader community. We know internationals can feel disconnected or isolated, so integrated with real-world topics in the lessons are suggestions for community connections to resources and people. You can see in this lesson called I Love the Rec Center in level 2, we encourage teachers to gather information about rec centers in their community and share that with their students so their students can have access. While this series does not teach Christian beliefs outright, we do incorporate some Christian values in a variety of ways in the hope of leading to further conversations about faith. For example, in level 1, we have a lesson on volunteering in a food pantry. This lesson lets students know about food pantries in case they need one, but it also shares about volunteering as a really good thing to do and encouraging students to give their time to do that if they're so inclined. In level 3, a lesson on pregnancy and birth vocabulary also teaches the word adoption. And as you can see in this exercise, it shows placing a child for an adoption as a brave and selfless choice to make. We're also careful to not have activities outside of Christian values or offensive to other students' values. For example, in this level 3 lesson on funerals, we have a teacher tip so that teachers can know that there are a broad range of cultural beliefs and practices around cremation around the world, and those could be in conflict among the students in their classes. We want students to feel comfortable in society as we're welcoming the stranger into U.S. culture, as mentioned in Matthew 25, welcoming the stranger. I was strongly influenced by David I. Smith and Barbara Carville's book, The Gift of the Stranger, when I was in graduate school, especially pertaining to the idea of language education as hospitality. Christian ESL teachers in the U.S. are showing hospitality by welcoming their students into American society. Each lesson includes a language function or speech act to help students speak and behave appropriately, and cultural information to help them understand. For example, in a level 1 lesson, students look back through the dialogues throughout the lessons in their books, notice all the different times and ways that people say thank you. This helps them discover different ways and appropriateness in the culture. And there's a teacher tip explaining why students are doing this. Many teachers may not understand that Americans tend to say thank you a whole lot more than other cultures do. Smith and Carville also have noted that the worldview we give our students matters. For example, many language curricula teach about complaints far more than compliments. For this reason, in Level 3, we have 2 lessons that teach compliments, while only 1 teaches complaints. And that one actually puts compliments and complaints side by side and has students work on both of them. Finally, we want to give students access to language to share their own values and understand others' faith stories. In our training, we have teachers practice sharing their testimonies with simple language to be ready when God gives an open door. We also encourage them to do just a 5-minute devotional in every class. We understand that many in the professional TESOL world believe in no proselytization. However, we're encouraging real relationships here, and those include sharing our very lives, as Paul, Silas, and Timothy wrote to the Thessalonians. We want students to be able to share their own faith stories and to understand when others share theirs too. To that end, I've tried to include many words relevant to sharing our faith throughout the lessons without necessarily making them the focus. You can see here some examples of vocabulary taught at each level that might be used when someone shares his or her testimony. The activities in the lessons also give students opportunities to express their own views and values and listen to others. You can see this level 3 problem-solving activity is quite challenging and gives a situation of what to do if your friend's son breaks into your home and steals money. What are the values that are going to influence how you react to the situation? So to conclude, we pray that Neighbor to Neighbor will facilitate relationships, student inclusion, and gospel opportunities through the vocabulary, language functions, activities, and topics. We're looking forward to seeing what God will do with this new work. Programs are already using the first 3 levels, and Lord willing, the next 2 will be available for purchase this summer, with a pre-literate supplement to the intro level to follow. You can see here some references and links, which are also available in the handout for this presentation. Thank you so much.